Really went the long way around here, huh? I can't change AMP. Oh. 757. Oh baby. Oh baby. Let's get some field of view. I think I'm gonna want to go down on the mouse. I can't. Res X res. What does that mean? Just high.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
So should we follow the narration the first time? I think I'm just gonna sit here. You know, there might be some instructions that come in on the keyboard or the monitor that I get to type on the keyboard. You guys know how keyboards work. I don't think it's me. This is gameplay, guys. This is it. Are you feeling it? You guys a little bothered that the cursor doesn't tick at the same time as the clock? Alright. I will actually get up. I think I'll see what's going on. Oh, I forgot it asked me the time. But it's actually not the time I said. It's interesting. I wonder if that's going to be relevant. I don't remember. Was there a clock before? Is this a new mechanic? Alright. Let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Look at.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Could be under here. Different? Honestly, it's been a long time since I played the original game, so I'm having a hard time remembering what it all looks like. I think that's a good thing. We'll just pretend like we're Stanley, trying to open up every door. Oh, I love this shit. already. This is the best room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ah, gameplay. Okay, fine. I should have disobeyed. No, it's fine. We love paying.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
God, this is so true. You do need a blue bevel. A blue bevel. It's very important. Oh. Oh, that's how my company says they talk about it. Yes.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright. Who wouldn't go towards the spooky red light? Hi, Lanny? It's too hard to read. I need to zoom in further. Look at this picture, though. I wrote this first period and left it in your locker. It's, oh my gosh. Wait, here we go. I wrote this first period and left it in your locker on the way to school. It's what all the cool kids are doing. I decided... Okay. I've decided. Write me back. Also, here's an idea for something. Draw a cats on a motorcycle. Oh my gosh. Hey, this is a good idea. What all the cool kids are doing is sending each other pages on their beeper. But we're cooler than them because they can't put this on a beeper. Yeah. That's true. It's very true. I like how you can see the details, the alien and the cactuses drawn in by their untalented friend. It's a beautiful relationship. Who else is going to give you content
But Stanley
like this?
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please,
let me hit
it's
the
all
buttons.
I want.
That's all
I want my apartment and my wife and my job.
No, just the buttons.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Button.
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
God damn it.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
That's what happens when you go in the basement, everyone.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Wait, what?
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
A beautiful ending. Good night, everyone. It was a prank. I pranked you.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
They keep it in there. What do you think they're keeping in there?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, that's very nice. That's fair. Quite the disparity. Holy sh... I got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. So that's a... Stop being rhymey. Can't even use... I would never have gone. Wait. Jeez. I am the most expensive boss. I could just go into an elevator? Oh my gosh. Wish I could jump. A short history of the relations between Poland and Austria-Hungary. Of course. Of course.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. "2845.
What could it be? What if I do?
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
I did it. I did it, everyone. I opened the door with the code. The secret code. Not pretty good. Pretty good.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I guess.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
like this
screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Just numbers. We got numbers on this page?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
No, I'm a real
No. He refused to
man.
believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Well, yeah, probably, actually.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I win. I think I actually do win. I beat the game.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Oh.
And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Oh, excuse me.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Well, I beat the game. Also got my first achievement.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's renegade time. What?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Here we go. What? New content.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Yay!
As
Here
you
we
may
are,
know,
everyone.
the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
It's certainly delighting me right now.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable
I'm about to get
Ultra
pranked.
Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
This is a jape, right? I'm getting japed right now.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Oh, I don't like your tone. Going anywhere?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Content time.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
I can jump in the circle. But only in the circle. That's enough jumps. I feel like I've jumped enough for one day.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe,
Nice.
now with over 1,000
Could
hours
you?
of new content.
Can you,
And
actually?
Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
There's no way you're ready for what's behind this door. Oh, that's very nice.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
I think that.
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Yeah. It was reset. I don't need new content. though. It's different now, though. Oh, the old office. Wait, can I go back? Where am I? Am I a new employee? What's happening? God?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. Fucking Solid Snake now.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So
Right.
I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
What is this?
Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh, very nice. Whose trophy is this? Bruce Straley. The Last of Us. That's true. It's very true. It's amazing. Oh. Oh, come on, let me play the demo. Thanks. I remember getting that achievement. It was yesterday. I never got this one because, you know, I'm just too much of a badass to cheat, you know? Nominee. Oh. Wait. Oh, little Stanley. Oh. Oh, little Stanley. Always remember.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
James Stephanie
"Where
Sterling.
so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Days. Let's get out of here. 10 out of 10. That's true. It was every game ever created. You can't say it's not. Ooh, nostalgia. Ooh. Wait. Alright, just pretend that's not there. Buy on Steam. You can buy. I like the old Steam button. What are we thinking here? It's looking good.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
No, everyone, I'm beginning to think this game's a little meta. Anybody else think that? The serious room. I want to go to the serious room.
Oh. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Let's go back.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Soda machine. Oh.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh. I'm gonna read it.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Skip button, yay!
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. 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 Treatise, manifesto.
I know when y'all are bored.
Treatise, manifesto. 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 Treatise, manifesto.
Sorry.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button.
Okay.
The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
What is happening?
How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are for... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
My door
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here?
That's what I'm saying.
Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
You think he's coming back? So just bash my head against this wall. Just bashing it. Bashing. It's working, right? It's working. I don't think he's coming back. Maybe just a little push wouldn't hurt.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked. Oh, Stanley. You're back.
Oh no!
You're back.
Oh,
my
no.
goodness. I have someone to talk to
no.
again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Oh no.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps. Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me.
Yeah.
I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
Gotta say, it was pretty nice. What's that? Goodbye.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and
boy.
about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of
That's
my
true.
being.
It's
It
very
was
true.
incredible.
Well
The
done.
spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you.
What?
Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
You know, team, I don't think he likes me very much. I'm gonna push the button. He's not gonna talk to me, is he? Ever again? A weembo wep, 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 a weembo wep. In the jungle, the mighty jungle. Narrator. Narrator. Hello? Narrator? Sure, just let me sit here for a year before you say something again. It's not my fault the button doesn't work. God, we love a skip button. Did the clock actually stop ticking? I don't think there's like, time is broken. Alright. Well, no consequences now. What is it? That can't be good. Is it this thing? Quit beeping. Fuck this.
But they didn't understand
Oh.
the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes,
I
of
think
course.
so.
They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, "Entertain us." It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and
How long it's been? Well, see you later.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
When did the air turn off here? Oh, that's probably not good, right? I feel like that's gonna end badly for Stanley. You see? Is this finally a way out, maybe? Not really. Well, maybe. But to what kind of life? Can't live on the outside. And skip. Yeah. Well, it's nice and day now. fine. I'll just hit the skip button. New life is beginning. Oh, well. You know, easy come, easy go. I feel like I made a mistake, team. We're just in like the ghostly screaming universe now. Yeah, let's I mean, it's gotta be better than this, right? This is mildly better. Oh. Are we free? I guess the desert world comes after the ghost world. To begin my new life in the desert. Oh. Do I win?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content?
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Wait.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
What's happening right now?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
It is pretty swanky. Two-door. They're back. Two-door. Oh my goodness. Envelop client-centric marketing. The color is red. Leverage holistic value. Oh, look at all the new logos you could do. Thanks for attending my meeting. Which one? They're all pretty good. It's probably the best one with the big two. It's true.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Oh, let me sit down. New features. I'm just to look at it. I wanted to sit in the chair. The new content bus? I want to get on the new content bus. Here we go. Oh, very nice. It's very nice. Oh, look at this room. That's new.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Hear your name in the game? Okay. The button that
For the
says
Stanley
name of the
Parable
player.
2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
There's no way this is gonna work. What is this button gonna do? Hear your name. Everyone's got one. Alright. I'm in.
Jim.
I'm not Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
I'm Jim.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I am become Jim.
Jim.
Oh, it said my
Yes,
name.
You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Alright.
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hit one more time.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
No, wait.
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
I want to be Jim again. Go back to It's happening. This is it really is the sequel. Already they're becoming the megalomaniac narrator. me be Jim. Alright. The reassurance.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play
There
the
you
Stanley
go.
Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Right? Please, no screenshots. Oh, where's the screenshot button? There we go. Take another screenshot. Ah. Jump circle. Oh my gosh. Infinite hole. Okay. Do achievement free and easy. Alright. Let's go get our achievement. Look at this. It's collectible. No way. Let's get our achievement. Pull the lever, receive your achievement, no worse. It just works.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Alrighty then.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley,
my
but I
gosh.
guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
What if I try again? What a prank. You think if I pull it some more times, it'll give me an achievement? Wow. Can't wait to see other features that will come in the sequel I'm not definitely playing right now. It's over here.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Ba. Ba. I guess the jump circle. We all remember the jump circle. Oh, it's still...
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
No. That's new. I want to go to the settings world champion. I want to go to the infinite hole.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday
Oh, am I gonna get
and
the
Happy
bill?
12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Happy 12th birthday, Stepnies. Get well someday. I like get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
Oh,
Happy
my
12th
gosh.
birthday, step-niece, it is. Or
much
actually,
better that way.
maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Alright. Wait. That wasn't the infinite hole. Uh-huh. I see. Educational. It's real. Educational. Hard to say. This is the most scientific of the of the graphs.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I really didn't mean to fall in that so easily.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
There's no way this is gonna work, right?
Now, I don't mean to be great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
I don't know. It's a pretty sweet hole. At 2 p.m. Anything else out here? Oh, 2, because of... Right. It's a sequel. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I.
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay.
Yeah, why is it so short
Yeah.
now?
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working?
No.
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's
The
a
whole
win for
ending.
everyone.
Yay.
You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Goodbye. Pretty good hole. I don't know why he's mad. Just the one of me. This is good. But it's a pretty good hole after all. Change your perspective. What is happening? Oh wait.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space of mine. My head's strong.
This is amazing.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Yeah, it's happening again. Wait. Oh my gosh.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says Jim. You heard Jim in the game. It says the name of the player that is playing. No, it's not there. We still can't be Jim.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Alright. Mostly infinite hole. Let's see what's up here. Gameplay critic. Oh. Oh, didn't know that was on. What the? I think something's broken here. Alright. I don't know what's going on with. Huh. Well.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be
real
no
video game
reward
now,
for
yeah.
collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oh, that's very nice. It's very nice. Wow. This truly is ultra deluxe. It's quite glorious, Aqua Killer. What a collectible. Can you find them all?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
It's true. The music just kicked in is pretty great. It feels like I'm on a collectible clue hunt now. Oh, look, I got a guide. There was not a free achievement when I went to this free achievement button. None of these have been real accurate. Alright. So I've been leaving this jump, the jump remaining since the beginning. I'm gonna jump in it. This feels like the time. That's enough for now, though. We're gonna leave it at 13. I already did the infinite hole. Fine. It ended. It's not even mostly infinite. We're gonna go... Oh, let's check out the merch. Let's check out the merch. I saw the new content. The end is never the end again. This shirt is the best new feature. Yeah, unironically, it was pretty good. I saw the new, I did it. I saw the new content. Ask me anything. Let's check out the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket,
Where's the bucket?
a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Oh, I'm so excited. Here we go. All right, I got it. All right. Let me get the bucket.
Can you feel
yes,
it?
I can.
The glow of comfort, even in the
can
face
feel
of
it.
crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
God, I love
The
the
benefits
buckets.
of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
Look at it.
All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable
Oh,
2.
man. I gotta say, this is pretty nice. I got the bucket. I'm taking the bucket. It's mine now. I own the bucket. Well, I could just take the bucket? God, this is sick.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game?
They
That
should.
really should be an award if it isn't already.
You would win. God damn. Yeah, my life has really changed, I have to say. I mean, I now see my life as pre and post bucket. Like before I had the bucket, now post is post bucket. The Stanley Parable 2 to be delayed for 4 years. I'm playing Stanley Parable 2 right now. I can feel it. Alright. Did I do everything? There's gotta be more. Do the office decorations. We got the merch. We Bucket and Talos Principle is pretty nice. I never finished Talos Principle. I should go back and do that. Can I get the epilogue now? Maybe I can be the settings world champion finally? I looked in the settings for something. Couldn't find any way to open that. Oh. Oh, that's new. I didn't go there. Oh no, that was the epilogue room. Did we do everything? This map. Free achievement. Yeah, we just need to go to the exit, I guess. E. Which is behind us. Blocked off. Exit. Yeah. Here we go. Exit. I can follow signs.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
I guess. Gotta say, this bucket's still. Oh, what's this?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
That was pretty good.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
That was probably the
Yes,
problem.
this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent
two
video game at all.
holes.
It's a lot of gags.
Wait.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they
got
don't
two
add up to
holes.
anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that
Slightly
would capture
higher
all the
limits.
magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course.
Yeah.
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up.
Stanley
Oh,
Parable
perfect.
Ultra Deluxe.
Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh. This, I really had no idea what to expect when picking up Ultra Deluxe. And I didn't look anything up. This has been already. Man. That was good stuff. That was good stuff. It's just gonna be the same thing, I know, but you know, the presentation is very nice.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered...
We'll skip. It's different? The intro wasn't any different, but now there's happy... Well, I do...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
You still can't get in this room, though.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a... Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Wait, where's the bucket? I walked right by it. I was too distracted by the door.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
This is pretty sick.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Whoa, you got bamboozled.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
The bucket knows where to go. Show me the way, bucket.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ah, so wise. The sound effect of it clunking.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
It's the same dialogue. You just put the bucket every once in a while.
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly. But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge.
I like how it's
and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
The bucket knows better.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
To the cargo lift.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I obey the bucket. Tell me the way to go.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Wait, this one?
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Wait, it just didn't look all that dark. Oh, over this room. That room looks pretty dark.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Alrighty then. I can't answer it.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket.
Oh no.
Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
The bamboozle aqua. I can't believe it. Where's my bucket? I can't believe it. The kettle's just not the same. Wait. Oh! N? Okay.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Oh no. Well, it's okay, Bucket. We won't listen to the mean old narrator.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Yeah, move over, companion cube. It's all about the bucket now, baby.
Well, I'll try anyway. Stanley?
No,
Can you hear
where's
me?
my bucket?
Listen to me. It's just
shut
a
up.
bucket.
Shut up,
It
where's my
can't
bucket?
think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location
That's
to
better.
a different location. That's
That's
it.
better.
It doesn't do anything else.
Yes, let's go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Yes, it's just me in the bucket.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a
Yeah,
nice
look
shine
at this
to
bucket.
it.
Yeah. I never abandoned
Yes, I
you.
suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Okay.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a
Just me
bucket.
in my bucket.
Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no, I'm having feelings.
Oh.
The bucket. Oh no. What's going on?
Yeah, why
do I
doesn't
want to be
Stanley
with the
have
bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps
I'm gonna have to
if I
turn off the
had the
stream for
bucket,
a
this
second.
would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could
don't
tell me
watch.
what to do in this troublesome situation.
Don't watch what I'm about.
Stanley, give me
No.
the bucket.
No,
Give
shut
it to
up.
me. Give me the bucket,
No.
Stanley. I need it.
No.
Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
The bucket. Alright.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay. It's all about the bucket now, baby. Alright.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
This is my bucket.
You can't hand it over. Oh, no.
Although,
We're getting into name-calling now, it seems.
I
Is
do
this how
see
low
a
the
little
broom
bit
closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of
attached to the
petty
bucket.
insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons,
Why?
but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate
I would,
object which
actually,
happened
I
to
think.
lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never.
I think
Go
so.
on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them
Okay.
point by
Let me
point.
think.
Share your journal entries detailing
we
the
went to
rich
work.
emotional landscape
We
of
went
your
home.
feelings for the bucket, as they have
went
changed
to
and
work.
evolved over the
We
years.
went home.
Let him have it.
We went to work. And we went home together. And then I think I was about to have sex with the bucket.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Alright. Oh,
There.
shit!
Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical
right.
diatribes
That's
about
my
the
bucket.
nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
That's so true. That's so true.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
Here we go.
You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
You think I'll keep getting stickers? If I keep hanging out?
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment, and to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies, easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I don't know, I'm kind of into the room closet. You know? Nah, I guess it's fine. I got some pretty good sweet swag on my... Well, I don't know. I had some pretty sweet swag in my bucket. Maybe I'll just hang out. Back in the broom closet. No, I think I am gonna leave, actually.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked
This is
upstairs
the
to the
first time.
boss's
I am
office.
curious what happens in a bunch of the stuff now that I have bucket. Oh!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Extreme bathrooms. I knew it was worth coming in here. The song's different too. Money in the morning, money in the money, Chris. I never used this elevator yet. Come in real life, you never get elevator music. bucket in the elevator. Can I get out now? It's just a bamboozle? I mean, I like the elevator music. Now let's go up. It's very funny. It's a very funny prank. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the wind, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Time to escape with the bucket. Oh!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands?
Oh.
Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines?
Stanlerines
Yes,
does
I
have
think
a
I
nice-
like that.
nice ring.
Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Another Stanlerine. Collect them all. God, I love this bucket. And everyone knows it's mine.
The elevator raced downward,
And then
plummeting
also it's a
towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Thank goodness.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Like, I believe
The door
that.
behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
This is fine. I'm sure
As
something
the
will
machine
save
whirred
me.
into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
That's just kind of rude, you know?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator,
Well-
as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end
What?
as it was crushed violently
what?
to death.
Wait, what?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket.
I still have
It's
the
true
bucket.
that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
What happened? They took my bucket. He's dead? You were standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within. A cavernous void. I know that feeling. But through use of an exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket, the bucket. I cannot read. And its history is really the only knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here with you out into the world and be like a bucket? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or you turn a blind eye and continue to live in the darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
You know, the Vitruvian bucket. The bucket is depicting as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life. Dozens are put to death just for attempting. That's true. You're not allowed to do that. This is amazing. 25 buckets, the greatest number ever captured on camera. Yeah, it's 25, alright. Catatonic shock. Oh, an old rustic bucket. The Inferno bucket. Which the medieval was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens to war with one another. Billions died, and yet, in spite of it all, simple fact remains. No one can control a bucket. It's true. Coping strategies. Holes. Stress you. Okay. Presented without commentary. That's true. You know, when you think about it, that's true. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we don't know for how long. This cave depicts early man's discovery of practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket has already likely been around for several millennia. Notice the drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. Oh my gosh.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear a grasp of the bucket may be, there is always more that is always out of reach. I said always twice for some reason. This distance, inevitably, is for our own good. I'm going on the whole team. Oh. What? I can take the bucket?
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Do I get to be a bucket now? Am I a bucket?
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
The bucket's back. I don't know if I want to do more bucket shenanigans. Just kidding.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
There was another door to go in. Oh well. I guess we'll make it all about the bucket again.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Alrighty.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Forgot about this.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care
The
about you
broom
very
closet's
much.
here.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
No,
We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay. Although... the broom closet. I like how the whole broom closet's actually here. You know, the broom closet. Alright, fine, let's go on an adventure.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next?
Whoa.
Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yes. Here we go.
Now this is what the Stanley
Hey.
Parable is all about.
That was
Don't you
pretty
remember
great.
all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
Yeah.
But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
It better not be the bucket. It really is the weighted companion bucket. What is the texture happening here? Whoop. Whoop. Whoop.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's
No.
such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Oh no.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
Let me
Surely
out.
you don't need me
No,
to
let me
spell
out.
it out for you.
No, let me out.
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
You're fucking crazy. I'm not giving you my bucket.
Now listen to me.
It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
Not give
I
it.
don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
don't
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry!
What is happening? I'm not giving you my bucket. Are you crazy?
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Goodbye, Bucket Destroyer.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Waiting input. Input received.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright. There will be a reward for finding them all? There will be a cleaning of this wall required. Oh. Alright, a large room, lots of boxes. Wasn't I already in there? Stairs, somebody to the stairs, somewhere both red and blue. Is this some kind of game? 5 there be, just take it from me. LOL looks like 427. Oh. Oh. Trust the completionist instinct. What is this? Warehouse access plan. Figlies, they finally figured it out. Follow clues provided by employee 416. Oh, we can do it. Red room? Maybe we are the collectors. Recording I have has his directional mic, a microphone who sounds for a particular area. Now this recording when you triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows like dark area behind a very warm place. also picked up what looks like a reverberance of our porcelain service. Anybody know what leads to this? Wouldn't you like to know? Is that the one in the bathroom? Play 421. Weird spinning figures. 421 building a bridge. Saw one in cargo room. Can we sell them? Absolutely. It is amazing. Just checking.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Aha!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Is this the same sig note? Oh man. Can I not get back to... let's do this way then. I already did this ending, but maybe it's different with the bucket.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. And that's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
I'm
Could
coming.
it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
These are my
None
buckets.
of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
So it could be a bucket version of
Mariella
this
woke
ending.
up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked
Picked
up
up
her
her
bucket
bucket.
of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place.
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Alright, I've almost had enough of the bucket. What am I saying?
All of his co-workers were gone.
No, I haven't.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Is there one here I missed?
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room.
did.
Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
I was thinking
Go
this
to the
is
cargo
the room
lift.
with the boxes. Did I already get a Figley here, though? I don't think I did.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Until I didn't.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point.
Ugh.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay, then.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's a bucket.
Incorrect.
What?
It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Holy crap, this is gonna be harder than I thought.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Let me make sure it's not a hologram. Yes, it's a bucket.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Really get bamboozled here.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Alright, I'm pretty sure this one. I'm looking. It looks shiny enough from this angle. I think it's a bucket.
Correct.
Oh.
This is a bucket.
Oh, I'm pretty smart.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Don't think this is a bucket. No.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. What's our next challenge?
Is this a bucket?
No, I don't think that's a bucket.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
What was that?
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Oh.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
He's gonna take mine, isn't he? Yes.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Oh, man. Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
You deleted all the buckets?
Was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now.
The word has officially lost all meaning to me.
It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
All right, don't tell anyone that the world is actually... It's actually just a bunch of buckets. I did not actually find... Is this a phone ringing?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
I said at 4:34, aren't I? 4:27?
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Lots of boxes, some are red and blue. 5 there be, just take it from me. Some are red and blue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Was
and the
that actually
bucket walked
talking about this
upstairs
one?
to the boss's office.
No, that one was talking about the... stairs. Red and blue.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
There's one.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
I'll do whatever you say, Buckets.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Wait, what? Oh.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery.
The silly bird.
Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this
Look at the silly
one
bird.
was surely the best. And Stanley
was happy.
Goose. Amazing.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
What's going on with that sound?
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm not sure where else to
This
go.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We went up that way.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, locked in. Cargo room.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the... How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
We continue on without the bucket? No, of course not.
A good bucket. A strong bucket. A
So
humble
much-
bucket.
so many
a
dialogue
committed
for the
bucket.
bucket.
A bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket.
Oh, there's
Now ride the
bridge
lift all
over
the way
there.
to the top. There's something up there I...
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Right. There was a bridge planks to go across.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, there's a vent here too. Ah.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Where am I? Narrator dialogue.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down, it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
What is happening? The bucket, Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed... The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man, and up Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright. So we're both red and blue. 5 there be, take it from me. Really does seem like I'm getting bamboozled.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. "2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I don't think there's another ending this way. I should just reboot.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Ending this way? Can he escape with the bucket?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
No.
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Not sure where else to look for another
All of his
collectible.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
We have any more achievements? Yeah, several. Set all slidings in the menu to the available to all the available numbers. What?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
How do I get
Perhaps
back
he
to
had
that?
simply missed a memo.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief that, oh, please, are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. You see, now that you've gotten the bucket involved, my standards have gone up. Merely clicking a single door is no longer enough. Now, I want to see you press this bucket against multiple doors. Now that's the kind of thing that merits an achievement. Why don't you put 20 bucket touches into door 417? Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times.
Where was 437? Oh.
Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love. Now back to door number 437. You know, I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416.
It was 416.
We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
Alrighty then. Back to the fucking copy machine.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 430. Yes! We did it! Wow! That felt amazing. You know, not all buckets will get this kind of experience. They won't all know what it's like to slam repeatedly against nearly every door in one section of an office building, or what it's like to be employee 419. Buckets may dream of an experience like this, but few can say they've truly lived it. You've given a bucket hope today. Stanley, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, the balloon gets to be an employee. Let's go to the boss's office. Wait. What's happening? Numbers always messed up like that?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt...
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
That does sound dangerous. Where's my bucket?
Ah, Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, surely not.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Maybe I have to not bring the bucket? Or there really is only 5, and it's a prank.
Coming to a staircase, all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
This is the baby, right?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Oh. Okay.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
This is the ending I couldn't remember.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Yay!
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh, Stanley Parable 2 Adventure Line.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line.
Oh, snap.
How simple is that?
Oh, snap.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
It's bad.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Okay.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh, it's just a Stanley Parable Adventure Line? It said 2 before.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Yeah, 437.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere.
which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection.
So...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm just gonna stare at my bucket. I'm getting very sleepy. I don't know how much new content there is left. Probably more? I know I'll get a new achievement when I start the game up tomorrow. Ooh. Wowee. This is a fun little treat. A fun little treat. Anyways, have a great night.